Everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. I don't have a whole lot of time to talk here today, but I will at least try to get one out. Yesterday was not a good day for me to do that, but today I'm going to try to at least get you a few minutes in here about the setup for this weekend, of course, and beyond. Picked up 1/10 of an inch of snow last night, officially at the airport, so we're now at 0.3. We should be at 3.1. Slowly but surely, we're getting there, right? 7 degrees outside now, 6 at Fort Knox, 9 into Munfordville. Bitterly cold out. Wind chill right now 6 below 0, 7 below in North Vernon, and right at 0 in Campbellsville. I mean, these wind chill values are already getting close to the wind chill advisory criteria, and they may meet that tonight. That's a possibility. I have the visible satellite on. We've had the flurries around. Most of them have drifted off to the south. Not much of a factor now, but what's the sun does come up, we may see like some of that snow that's on the rooftops show up in some of the images here. We'll see if that happens or not. Wider view shows relatively quiet weather for us. The East Coast getting slammed right now, of course. You got the clear skies again working their way in, so we're going to get some sunshine mixed in with this. I mean, it looks like a hurricane. That's basically what a nor'easter is. I mean, hurricane with snow that's moving right up the East Coast, and it's just blasting anywhere from the Carolinas and Florida all the way now through Delmarva Peninsula, New York City, Boston. My sister is right in here, and she's going to be right on the path of it, so she may end up more on the warmer side for a while, but a lot of wave and wind action there. Just a mess for the Northeast. A lot of flight delays. A lot of flight delays. Meanwhile, for us, our next system for tomorrow evening is going to be this little clipper. It's going to streak real quick toward Nashville, and it's only going to be about, I would say, 60 miles wide. So most of it's going to miss wave country, but our southwest counties may get grazed by flurries out of that. Just at least mention it. We'll watch it, of course. This is the one everyone's talking about. It's still in the Pacific Ocean. It's not getting fully sampled. I mean, pieces of it are in the network between Canada and some of the ships out to sea, and of course the Northwest. But we need a really full sample on it, and really it's going to take until Saturday to get a full sample, but we may have enough data tomorrow to see some adjustments that, if they're going to be significant, begin to show up. But even that, it's not going to be so much a full sample. It's going to help this one. This one's a little different because models forecast roughly about 2 meters on temperatures and up. And we're concerned about the actual temperature right at the ground level, and that could vary. And because of the frigid ground, models can't see that, so we have to account for that. That's why we have human meteorologists here to kind of always watch for that potential. So let me show you a couple of things here. A lot of lines, I know. No matter where, I didn't mean to make it so technical, but I hope that helps in explaining. Here's the blue line. The blue line is what I want you to think of as the rain-snow line that's aloft. It's the main one that switches over really from snowflakes to rain being generated. The white line is, let me go slow with this. The red line is 36 degrees, and then the white line is right at the freezing mark, 32 degrees. And both of those are at the surface. The blue line is above our heads. So what you see happening, even as we head into, this is the Euro, on Sunday, you can see the blue line's getting out ahead of the other two. That tells me, as normally the case, the warm air is working its way fast. It's going faster than the cold air is at the ground. That's usually how it goes. Cold air is more dense, warm air is light, and flies over it. So the warm air is surging over all this, while the cold air is kind of dragging its butt, if you will, across the lower layers of the atmosphere. Then we get into Monday, or really early Monday. Notice the 36 degree line is still west of Louisville, 32 is north of us, so we're roughly 33, 34. And again, we got to account for the temperature where our feet are. On top of that, the rain-snow line aloft is up there toward Indy at the moment, but it's close. You can see even patches where it's indicating some snow, depending on the rate that's coming down. Because there's enough cold air aloft that if it comes down hard enough, that could change everything. But the trend is trying to weaken the system. And if it weakens it, it will likely be a very light rain or a freezing rain deal. If it gets stronger, you can get more of the pulling down, dynamic cooling, and get into a bigger snow. But you risk the warm air ahead of that point overwhelming it too. What are you going to do? If it's a snow lover, you're in a conundrum. You don't know which one you want. But that's how this is going to balance out. And that's the reason why there's no really good model until we get into the real high-res models that are very short-term to fine-tune those little details in the atmosphere for us to figure out which degree is what and what layer to help us gauge this. And it really is going to be the day of event. Really gets hammered out. But just to give you a general idea of how complicated the setup is by looking at all these lines here. All right, then we head into Monday. Notice here the rain-snow line dips. The low itself is tracking to our south, so we're getting to what would be considered as somewhat of a deformation zone. So there's a little bit more of a dynamic cooling effect, and we get into some snow. I mean, if this is reality, I mean, this is a wet snow here, a big flakes kind of deal, worth watching. And then as the low moves east, the intensity of the pulling down, the dynamic cooling stops. So we actually notice the rain snow line never comes all the way through. It kind of leaves us while the low level cold moves in. So there's a chance it would actually, if you went to snow, it would actually end as rain. A little opposite of what we normally would have, because the warmer air is going to kind of follow with it, but the low level cold will sneak in. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of a weird setup on this one. It's going to be a pain. I haven't said that. Then the next wave comes in. The line's closer together on this one. Looks like rain. It's on the 12th. Over to snow, and then ending. Maybe a thumping of snow with that. Here's the GFS. Same story as I just showed you. You can see how you got the warm layer aloft working out ahead of the colder layers below it. So it's racing over the cold dome. Then as we head into Monday morning, you can see how the low-level cold is, I mean, it's borderline here. Even though the rate snow line is way up in here, it's indicating that dynamic cooling is going to overcome that and get snow in this area. So these lines, of course, these lines are not definitive and exact because that would make them coarse or more smoothed out in detail. But anyway, you can definitely tell, though, where the problem is on the leading edge and also on the northern part of the low pressure as it tracks to the south. The low was tracking past few days north of us. Now we're trying to see trends. The low wants to go south of us, but then we got to figure out the thermal profiles if it does go south of us, and is it going to be a fast-moving system? Is it going to be one that's going to dig? Those are questions we just can't answer. But it does do the same similar story as what the Euro did, is that it would, whatever frozen stuff happens, would likely end as rain. The next system, they look awful similar, a little further north, but this one's weird because GFS, it tries to stall the front out, and then a new low forms along it and may enhance something after that point. I think it's my last map. Pretty sure it is. So guys, look, we have a lot of questions still in the weekend. Don't get too worked up. I know you're already asking me, oh, but could this be a winter storm? Could this be an ice storm? Could this be one that shut everything down? I don't know those questions. I can speculate and give you an answer, but I don't. If I knew those answers and questions, I would be pretty much working somewhere else. And there would not be any other TV meteorologists out there because it's nearly impossible to say. So, the thing is, we got to keep an eye on the ground temps where our feet are. We got to keep an eye on the warm flow. We got to learn on the track of the low, how far south it goes, and the intensity of the precipitation coming down. Those are a lot of questions, guys. We still got to answer. And if one of them is off from what we're looking at in the models, it changes everything. It changes the whole game plan. So we don't want you to get. We're not trying to hype this up. I hate when I get accused of hype. I'm trying to explain things to you. It's not hype. Be aware, understand what's happening, understand its potential. If you have plans Sunday night into Monday, a lot of us have plans Monday because we're going to work and school, but just in general, keep this in the back of your mind that it's something's coming, and it could either be a mess or it could be just rain, and we're all right. So stay close to the forecast. I'll have some new data to work with coming up on midday today, actually, and then Ryan will have more beginning at 5 o'clock. So you guys have a good one. Behave yourselves. I'll talk to you soon.